Hey, howdy hey, and welcome back to Emily's Adventures in Horrorland. Now, this video is going up a bit late, and I'll tell you why. I am terrible at organising my DVD purchases. No, that's really the reason. You see, I knew I wanted to do a Dracula movie for this week's horror icon. But I got lazy and I watched 1992's Bram Stoker's Dracula, which I already had in my collection. And then it bothered me that I'd gone from a written review of 1931's Dracula to that. So I went ahead and ordered Horror of Dracula 1958, so we're going way back.
Hammer Horror.
Hammer Film Productions is perhaps best known for their Hammer horror movies, which stood out from other 60s horror with the inclusion of melodrama, gore and violence. Even if said gore did look a bit ketchup-y. But hey, that's Technicolor for you, I guess. The film has Christopher Lee in the role of Dracula, and of course he is going to be measured against Bela Lugosi, which is the definitive Dracula performance. Drac-finitive. So how does Lee do? Let's find out. Yep, that's how you know you're watching some good old horror of Hammer. Hammer horror. We open on Dracula's castle and his coffin, which gets covered in tomato sauce. Then, emulating the epistolary nature of the books, we get a snippet of Jonathan Harker's diary.
The castle appeared innocuous enough in the warm afternoon sun, and all seemed normal, but for one thing. There were no birds singing.
Wait, hang on. Running water right outside Castle Dracula. That seems like exactly the sort of thing he wouldn't want there. Harker enters, and the interior is pretty impressive, but looks more like a Tudor court than a Gothic vampire's lair. Then again, I'm not a history buff at all, so don't ask me about archaic architecture. Drac doesn't appear to be knocking about, so Harker makes himself at home, even digging into some food. Then a young lady appears, claiming to be a prisoner of the Count. She begs Harker to help her escape before running off. Interesting strategy. And there he is. Don't we all look better in capes? I think so. I went and looked at the original novel for a description of Dracula, and he is apparently an old man without a speck of colour on him, who is as cold as ice, more like someone dead than alive. Not all the Dracula films were accurate to the book, but the films did give rise to certain cinematic tropes. For example, in many Dracula adaptations, the actor who plays Dracula is also the coach driver who brings Jonathan Harker to the door, and this seems to be implied in the book as well, since he shares the Count's prodigious strength. In Horror of Dracula, we barely see what the bloke looks like. Also, thanks largely to Bela Lugosi's performance, Dracula is often portrayed as a dark, imposing figure, who can radiate a vague air of menace with barely a raised eyebrow. The character is more subtle than his equivalent in the film Nosferatu, but can still drop several hints of his vampiric nature, which Harker is too stupid to pick up on. So let's see how Lee's Dracula first addresses his guest.
Mr. Harker, I'm glad that you've arrived safely.
Not sounding very Romanian there, Drac, old buddy, old pal, old friend. But yeah, he certainly looks imposing. Definitely typecasting material. In this version, Harker is the new librarian, not solicitor, and there's nary a Renfield in sight. Shame. Dracula comes in and spies a picture of Harker's fiancée, Lucy. I guess they wanted to streamline things a bit. After all, this movie is only 82 minutes. But plot twist, Harker writes that he intends to
End this man's reign of terror.
He talks again to the lady prisoner, who again begs him for help in classic 1960s lapel-grabbing fashion. Then she bites him on the neck, and then Dracula swoops in, wearing the most fantastic contact lenses ever, to stop her, and pushes Harker over for good measure. Harker wakes up to realise that he has also become Drac's victim.
I can only pray that whoever finds my body will possess the knowledge to do what is necessary.
You know, rather than just pray your discoverer will know what to do, why don't you write a message on yourself in Sharpie so that they'll definitely know what to do? Oh, never mind, he's going to go and kill the sleeping Dracula first. As night is falling. Now, Harker, who are we here to kill? That's right! Now just go... No, she can wait, Johnny boy. Go back to the Drac. John, no, her dying scream is going to wake him up, isn't it? So just go back over there, seriously now, go over there and drive the stake right, you stupid addle-brained lummox. I've always thought that Jonathan Harker was unbelievably stupid in the films, but I've read the book and he's equally as dithering like, oh, I must get the recipe for this delightful Slovakian dish, and I can't see any vampires around here. So, I guess that's accurate. Nice job, guys. Meanwhile, in a pub full of garlic and garlic flowers, we meet Abraham Van Helsing, who asks after his idiot friend. He's given a meal, a drink, and Harker's diary. Later, he goes up to Castle Dracula only to see a hearse come storming down the path and, yep, should have seen that coming. Van Helsing goes home to give the bad news to Harker's fiancée's brother Arthur and his wife Mina, but won't furnish them with any details of his death. Lucy herself is quite ill and in no fit state to be told.
Jonathan will be home soon, I know it. Then I'll get better, you'll see. I won't be a trouble to Dr. Seward or any of you.
Lucy, it turns out, has already had a visit from Dracula, as she leaves her window open for him and takes off her cross. How can she wear a cross? Or is it only crucifixes that can harm vampires?
The crucifix, symbolizing the power of good over evil.
Oh, handy bit of information there. Van Helsing continues to talk to himself as Dracula turns up to bite Lucy again. Spooky. Van Helsing sees what's the matter with Lucy almost immediately and prescribes garlic and garlic flowers and insists that the windows be kept shut. These instructions are put in place and are immediately undone by Goethe, the maid. Nice going, Goethe. And she's dead. Hey, Goethe? Yeah, you're fired. Actually, they blame Van Helsing for bringing all this bad luck upon them, so he leaves Jonathan Harker's diary for them to read. Soon afterwards, a little girl called Tanya reveals that she's seen her Aunt Lucy, and the look on Arthur's face is just hilarious. Lucy takes her niece for a walk, but she's stopped and burned with a cross. Not a crucifix. There is a noticeable lack of Jesus on that thing. Van Helsing suggests using Lucy to track down the Drac.
Is there no other way?
Try and understand.
People really loved to roughly grab each other back then, didn't they?
It's only a shell.
I've noticed that in other Hammer horror films too, like The Gorgon.
Don't be afraid, I love you.
Well, I love you! They put Lucy out of her misery and have another conversation about vampires.
I always understood that if there were such things, they could change themselves into bats or wolves.
That's a common fallacy.
Says you, Doctor. Have you even read the book? Oh, wait. You know, it's interesting to me how all the Dracula films rewrite the rules about what can kill a vampire. But maybe that's for the best. Here's a little list of all the things that can hurt, kill, or stop a vampire in its tracks. As Arthur and Van Helsing search for Dracula, Mina is tricked into meeting him, and returns looking pale and ill, yet oddly satisfied. Also, she's clutching a fur collar close to her neck. And we all know what the hat means.
But, you know, an old man came here once to see his dear departed, and he fell down these stairs. It was really quite amusing.
Who is this guy?
Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Oh, yeah, well, it's around at the back somewhere.
Wow, he's just been let loose, hasn't he? Anyway, they find out that Dracula is no longer in his coffin, and worse, that Mina is slowly becoming a vampire. Still not a crucifix. Never mind, now Mina can lead them to Dracula. See, there he is. Maybe walk around the bed, Mina? No, struck down by glamour, I suppose. No! They give Mina a blood transfusion, whilst jump cutting to the exact same thing for no reason whatsoever. Goethe, why are you still working there? And oh no, Dracula's been hiding out in the cellar!
You said I was coming.
Crikey, I like this woman less and less every time I see her.
Look like the devil.
Now, what happened?
"1958, everybody. Oh, Dracula. You can't just bury your problems. They chase him through the castle. Arthur gets strangled not quite to death, leaving Van Helsing to... Oh dear. Hold on! You can't do that! At least all the non-crucifixes we've seen thus far have been actual crosses. That's cheating! And now the best part of the movie, Dracula's destruction. That was amazing. Just bravo, you guys. Very well done. Googly-eyed Dracula death. Happy ending. Wahey! So that was Horror of Dracula, starring Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, the first Hammer horror film where the two got top billing, but certainly not the last. As far as depictions of the King of the Undead go, this one was pretty good. The fangs, the eyes, the burying people. And Lee definitely carried off the threatening yet charming nature of the character. Just look how easily he ensnared those women. And Harker, I guess. Christopher Lee would return to play the role of Dracula several times, despite dying in this one, even adding snippets of dialogue from the original Bram Stoker novel to spice up any scripts he felt were lacking. Maybe he didn't enjoy being typecast, but he certainly gave a decent performance anyway. And now he's dead. Shame, shame. This film is fairly dramatic compared to the 1931 version, with gruesome depictions of heart-staking and forced cremation. The music supports this, even if it is a bit...
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Oh my god, oh my god.
And the film sets aren't terribly gothic, but still nice. For those reasons, I give this film 8 jam sandwiches out of 10. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheerio. You know the problem with black lipstick? Makes your teeth look even more yellow.